I also find it's a fun exercise to talk to people who embrace and love the Christmas story, but they have no idea what it is. So, like, have you read Matthew and Luke? Like, do you know the story? Do you understand that they're conflicting stories where there's a census that didn't actually happen for years and he wouldn't have had to leave his town of residence because it was a local census and only the male heads of household would have to go? So Mary wouldn't have even been a part of that journey. And in one book, they go back to Nazareth, and in the next book, they flee to Egypt because they have to escape the death edict that the other book totally omitted, and blah, blah, blah.
Firstly, the Gospels don't contradict each other. They merely focus on different aspects of the story. Just because they don't cover the entire thing doesn't mean they are completely different. No. Second, Rome did many censuses over the years, every 5 years or so apparently. So it's more than likely one happened around the time of Jesus' birth. You bear in mind that Herod wasn't particularly well versed in where Jesus was born, or even when he was born. This gives you an idea of why. And the reason Matthew focused on the death edict was because it happened much later on, and it would have been something well known in Roman documents. So he would have been able to pick it out, being a tax collector at the time. So the Gospels don't contradict each other in this case. The Nativity story is relatively sound. The simplified version for children to plays is a bit misleading, I'll grant you that.
And blah, blah, blah. And then my favorite part, there's 30 years of Jesus's life nobody talks about.
Yeah, just gone.
So much for making these shorts. Firstly, you got to remember that the timelines probably didn't match up, since it's heavily implied that Jesus was actually fairly young, but not a baby, when the wise men came, when the Magi came. Second, in the Gospel of Luke, it mentions him as 12 in the Temple of Jerusalem. And if you want to get more authentic, there's also the infant Gospel of Thomas. So Jesus' life was mentioned, but you got to remember his ministry contains the majority of his message. And that's what the Bible's actually telling us about. His message, not necessarily his full life.